Okay, folks, it's Nucleus time. Time for part 2 of Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Knuckles and Knuckles. As Knuckles. And this time around, it's special stage number 4. In this time around, you gotta get a slew of blue sphere. Is pretty much the norm in these special stage. It doesn't change in the and Knuckles half. We still got a good ways to go before I get to that point in the game. I can't remember if I get to show off Super Knuckles before I show off Hyper Knuckles, or if that even happens at all. But I pretty much just get through these special stages as quickly as I can because I just want to get out of here, get the emeralds, and get on with the business. And getting on with the business is what I shall do, is Knuckles got a Chaos Emerald, and this time it's his 4th one. No continue this time, though. But I will continue through the rest of this. As there are a couple of more Chaos Emeralds in special stages hidden in Hydrocity Act 2. If I can manage to get to them, remains to be seen. Now, I really like the music here, but it's another one of those toss-ups on whether I like the Act 1 variation more than the Act 2 variation. But I think I like the Act 2 variant just a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and get those rings. Get that ringage. And just continue to maneuver my way on through here. And if I could just not stumble on my words today, that'd be great, but I guess it happens to the best of them sometimes. I wouldn't consider myself the best of them. I don't even know what the best of them would be as far as Let's Play commentators would be. Although, in my personal opinion, I feel like YouTubers like the Great Clement, SGB, and Brain Scratch commentaries set the bar pretty high. Although there are some other ones that I like too that get me laughing, like Oni Plays and Game Grumps. Although I don't really care much for Game Grumps anymore. I kind of grew out of that, I guess. I don't know, a lot of their stuff isn't really that good anymore, and it seems like they're kind of not very good people behind the scenes from some of the videos I've seen on YouTube talking about them. But maybe some of that stuff's wrong. Heck, maybe Aaron and John are actually on good terms. That would be nice if that was actually the case. I still wonder what happened to break the Game Grumps up. Because, I mean, there's definitely 2 different eras of the Game Grumps. And that's the John era, and then there's the, oh no, I forgot the other guy's name. The curly-haired dude. I should know this, but it just shows how out of the loop I am and how little I cared for some of that era, which is still going on to this day. I'm actually surprised the Game Grumps are still around. I'm actually surprised I'm still doing this. Nobody even watches my stuff. Or maybe some people do. But I don't know, some of their early stuff is a lot better than what it is nowadays. Maybe it's my sense of humor that's evolved over the years. Maybe I've just grown up, I don't know. Man, I still laugh at some pretty immature jokes, so I'm not really sure. I feel like that's the majority of what it is. But I feel like they should have probably have called it quits a couple of years ago at this point. And Brain Scratch Comms, on the other hand, I've always been a pretty big fan of them, and they've just kind of been, well, they've been a huge influence on me as far as this whole commentary thing goes. This was like one of the first Let's Play channels I really got into. Although, like I said, there was also the Great Clement, and of course he retired from Let's Plays. And at the time of recording this, I'm not really sure what Brain Scratch is doing. Hey, since this will be out in 2023, maybe they've already announced their 2023 plans. But at the time of recording this, they have not. And I've been wondering, are they dead? Are they coming back? Are they just taking a break like they said they were? Guys, hello? But anyway, it also kind of sucks that SGB is long gone, but that one I can kind of understand. From what I understand, it was more so just a couple of bros getting together and being able to chill in the same room and record everything in one sitting. Honestly, I wish I could assemble a team of commentary folk. I feel like I could probably be a force to be reckoned with if I had the right team behind me. Or in front of me. But then again, I don't know. I mean, Let's Plays are just one of those things that's kind of hard to really tell, and not very many people get successful from it because there's just so much content out there. There's so much crap out there on YouTube, and it's just oversaturated. I'd be surprised if I ever got any further than I currently have. But anyways, folks, that's going to do it for Act 2 of this Hydrocity zone. The boss has been defeated. And now I can move on to the Marble Garden zone, which I've had this song stuck in my head all evening, and I've been looking forward to getting here. I see a nice number in the scoreboard. See, I can devolve to immature humor sometimes. Although I'm not really sure. I guess I'm still kind of finding my footing as far as commentary goes. It's kind of hard to tell because sometimes I like to throw in informative content while also being funny, while also sharing stories about my life in the past and how it correlates to the playthrough. And sometimes just drifting off into whatever I feel like talking about, but I don't know, sometimes I still feel like I haven't quite hit my stride yet. I don't know if it's because I haven't really gotten a whole lot of viewership, or because there's still a few elements missing. Like I said, I feel like I'd be a lot more comfortable if I had a commentary team behind me, but that's alright. It gives me a chance to craft my own skill on my own, and maybe eventually I can get some decent stuff together here. Anyways, this is Marble Garden Zone, and I want to point out that Act 1 and Act 2 have found their way into my workout playlist, as I do spend quite a bit of time at the gym, and I have a Sonic playlist in which I work out to from time to time. As there's a lot of good songs in Sonic games, and of course I've known that my entire life, but some of them make for some pretty good workout jams. This is one of them in my opinion. But it's one of my more favorite themes. Although this is definitely one where I'm going to put Act 2 over Act 1, as I like the Act 2 theme just a little bit more. I don't know, I like that touch with these games, or with this game, how there's a different variation of Act 1 and Act 2's theme. But there are plenty of songs in the game that I don't really care all that much for. Specifically, I would definitely say Carnival Night Act 1 and 2 just don't really do it for me. I wish they would have kept the original pre-Michael Jackson stuff. As yeah, I mean, if I didn't already point that out before in this playthrough or in the previous one, as Sonic and Tails, Michael Jackson did have a little bit to do with the Sonic 3 soundtrack, which is why the music has been replaced for Sonic Origins, which is something that had released after, or in between the recording this and when I recorded the Sonic and Tails playthrough of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's when I recorded that. I don't think really much was known about Sonic Origins yet. I mean, I guess it's fine and all, I don't know, at this point, I'm just tired of them making Sonic collections. I feel like Sonic Mega Collection was pretty good, though, and Sonic Jam was great, and do we really need to keep doing this? But then again, I guess if there's still money to be made off the classics, by God, they're gonna do it. They got to have money. That really out of place thing from the Tom and Jerry movie. Literally the only thing I know of from that movie is just that one rich guy who's like, we got to have more money. Anyways, here's the boss for Act 1, the mini-boss. And this one can be quite annoying to deal with. It's a little bit more difficult to deal with when you play as Knuckles. But I wouldn't be too worried, folks. You just gotta ride this platform that occasionally pops up. It's probably your best bet as far as hitting this enemy, and yeah, that's gonna do it for that enemy. I don't know what his name is. Probably need to restudy the instruction manual. I do have complete copies of Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, so maybe I need to go back and do some homework, do some research. But anyways, here's Marble Garden Act 2. And yeah, I love this theme a little bit more than Act 1's theme. And in fact, it still brings up the earliest memory of Sonic I ever knew is the, if you wait long enough on the press start menu for Sonic 3, it'll take you into the demo version of Marble Garden Act 2, which is my earliest memory of ever seeing any Sonic game. Bringing me back to barely sentient times. But I'm gonna keep things rolling here, get that extra life. Lives are not much of a concern. Really just depending on how good you are at the game, of course, lives aren't much of a concern. And actually, I do believe that whatever goes on here in Part 2 will be... the end of Part 2 will be whatever's left of Marble Garden Act 2. Which sounds good to me. Be able to take a little pee break and come back and record Carnival Night. Ice Cap. I actually scratched that. I think Carnival Night took a little longer than I wanted it to, so I had to come back to Ice Cap. Once again, this is just one of those cases of I recorded the gameplay long before I recorded the commentary, and it just kind of throws off any continuity there possibly could be. And also breaking the fourth wall constantly to remind you that this is post-commentary. Which, hey, if Brain Scratch can do it, I can do it, right? Of course, I don't think the Great Clement ever did a whole lot of live stuff, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna keep things rolling along here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I finish up Act 2 of Marble Garden Zone in this part. This is a really tricky part where you can get stuck if you're not careful. What you want to do is just keep going over here. Of course, that invincibility power-up's always a nice thing to have, if I do say so myself. Of course, since I'm Knuckles, I don't really need to go back and hit the enemy switch, as Knuckles can break through walls, and of course Knuckles can glide, and Knuckles can climb walls, as you just seen I did there. But yeah, I'm not really sure if the Knuckles run of the game is supposed to be more difficult, or if it's supposed to be easier, because I found a little bit of an easier time with this than the Sonic and Tails run. But then again, I put a lot of practice into this before I decided, yo, I'm gonna go ahead and knock this out. Man, this music slaps. I can't get over it. I'm sorry, folks. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. And yeah, get that checkpoint. I do believe there is a moment coming up where I did have to do some editing magic in Sony Vegas. I keep saying Sony Vegas even though I own Vegas 14, which is, I think, the first one that's not Sony. But I just got so used to hearing Sony Vegas over the years, where Sony was the one putting out the Vegas Pro stuff. So I'm gonna call it Sony Vegas if I want to. And then you got this section here where the platforms will start falling apart and sinking, and just gotta make sure you don't get yourself smushed here, folks. And so far I'm doing a pretty decent job of not getting smushed. However, there is an imminent checkpoint where I do know for a fact that for a matter of the fact, most certainly, most definitely, that, yeah, there it is. I had to come back here to the checkpoint because I got myself killed. Because this boss battle with the egg robo is kind of difficult sometimes, depending. Now, I want to point out that in the Knuckles playthrough, even though Eggman's not really much of a threat, or he's not supposed to be, even though he shows up a couple of times, since this takes place after the events of Sonic and Tails' run, the Egg Robo is just pretty much a robot run amok trying to do his own thing, probably for Eggman's favor, but trying to do some more damage to the island, the floating island, the Angel Island. But anyways, just gotta hit him a couple more. There we go. Only had to hit him one more time, and that's actually gonna do it for Marble Garden Zone, and that's gonna do it for part 2 of Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Knuckles. Thank you for tuning in for this one, and I will see you in part 3.